guys, it's Joshy here, and I am back with another best to worst shiny video. Now before I get into it, I'd like to apologise. I got a little delayed doing this, and then I've been quite sick the last couple of days, so I now have enough energy to get through it. I'm going to get this one done for you today, so the day it goes up is the day I'm recording it. Now, as well as that, I apologise if I make a couple of sniffs or that through the video. I'm going to try not to. Now, before we get into it, a couple of disclaimers as always. These are my opinions. They are from still images all off Cerebi. If you'd like to suggest any Pokemon, I've got a list I'm working through, but I'll add yours on and fit it in, then comment it below. And if you guys do enjoy this content, definitely giving it a thumbs up helps me and the channel altogether. But let's get rolling. So, today's first Pokemon we're looking at is Imolga. Now, I like this cute little guy, but overall, it's really an average shiny due to the fact that all it really is every black part of this Pokemon is shifted to brown, including the shadowing on him, and that kind of loses it. And you'll see what I mean. So going into our worst one, we are looking at Black and White, its original game. Now, you know, the first two, so this one and the next one, are really close, but this one is just worse because of the image of the game at the time. The pixelation, the worse graphics, that whole thing together is literally the reason this guy makes it here. But as you can see, that brown from the black area comes through the shadowing and the lines as well, and that's a bit disappointing. If we had like the strong brown instead of the black and then maybe swapped another color, we could be awesome, but we just kind of missed the mark. Moving on to the next one, which is XY Sun and Moon. So this guy really, as I said, it just makes it because it looks better as an image generally. It's not here because it's like, oh, this one, you know, it's this or that. It just looks better again. Now, this is a cute Pokemon, and I really do like Imolga. I just wish we had more, you know, of a shiny. And then we're stepping into our best, because we've only got 3, is our Sword and Shield. Now, this one wins because of the light mapping and smooth lines. Now, if you look at it, it is much better, but almost made it to worse because of the shadow colors here. What I mean is, if you look here, the shadowing really does it feels brown saturated compared to the other ones we've seen before, and that kind of to me was a little bit like, this is a bit disappointing. But due to the light mapping and the better graphics, I thought with all of them being very average shinies, I prefer to have a Sword and Shield one over the others. But to be honest, I quite like the original as well. He's just a cute little one. Okay, so moving on to our next one, we are looking at Scyther. Now, before I get into Scyther, I want to note that Scyther does have a gender difference, as you'll see here, but the only gender difference mainly is its abdomen. Now, with the abdomen difference, I find this does not affect the shiny, making a female better or worse than a male in this one, so we won't be looking at the gender differences at all. We were just looking through the generations. If we do stumble on a Pokemon later on, which we will, where the gender difference does affect the shiny, we will be separating the males and females from each game as well. But here it is just each generation or game itself against each other. Now as well, this is not the best shiny really. Some of it looks okay, but really overall it's nothing amazing. So let's start with the worst as always. We are looking at Gold. This has almost no difference, and only really get to see the biggest difference, which is this red pinkish area on the body that isn't the green, as you can see, is quite hidden here. Now, Gen 2 generally has a lack of colour diversity or colour palette in what it's able to do compared to other generations, but here it's not even just that, it's the fact that it's covering all of the areas that do show it. Now you can see a couple little red tints here or there, but really this is a bit disappointing. We then step up and we're actually going all the way to XY Sun and Moon for the next one. Really, this is just so close. And really, I was disappointed because here we actually do see a fair bit of those between body sections that have that bigger color difference, but in this one, this out of all generations has the closest color between the color differences. And to me, that was really disappointing because we got into a generation where we were seeing a lot of you know, Pokemon looking way better when we got here, but this one just unfortunately fell flat for me. We go from there to black and white, and again, it's just so similar and so close, and there's so little difference to see. It's a bit disappointing, and really, we could have done better. We step up again to Fire Red Leaf Green. Now, this is where it starts stepping up, but still, even though there's that difference, it's still hiding the major differences that really do make the difference between showing off a shiny to, ooh, is that a shiny moment? And if you have to go, ooh, is that a shiny? You know the shiny's not the best. Next one up the ladder, we are looking at Emerald. So again, really, this has a better stance, which I definitely feel you can just kind of see that. But that body is still hiding there, and like we can see a little bit more than other ones, and it's got a nice difference in that body coloring, both the green and the pink. So we see it, but even with this nicer stance, it's still a little bit back foot of a shiny in my opinion. Again, we go up, and now we're back to Gen 2. Now, this is kind of weird that I put one Gen 2 in the worst spot, and then we're saying that the next ones are higher up, and you'll see why. So this one is Silver, and we are looking at it because, you know, although the green is still really close, we can see this nice red-pink difference quite clearly, and then we get to see on the wings how we get this outline and everything. There are multiple different ways that we can definitely go, this looks different if you're used to it, and notice that red showing through, which is an area that most generations don't have, that wing difference, or all really. So we get that nice bit of differentiation, which I wouldn't mind seeing it come back. I mean, if Scyther had a actual red wing in its shiny, that would make this shiny just wow. Next one up from there is Crystal. So we're only going up a little bit here, but we are looking there. I mean, like, I'll quickly show you here, the 1 and 2, as you can see, they're almost identical sprites, but the reason Crystal is a little bit better in my opinion is I do like the back wing difference, and that slight differentiation, like if you really get down close to it, you can see a little bit of lighting difference on this area and this tiny pixel there, and like sometimes you have to be picky, but this one, mostly the wing to me, it's just I like the wing difference, but that's literally it where we go from. And yeah, it's just, to me, that little difference makes it that little bit better. I mean, it looks more comfortable where the wing's placed. Next one on our list is all the way through to Sword and Shield now. Now, it is the best looking Scyther we've had, and this will happen nearly in every game. Your newest game will be the best looking. There's the odd one where, you know, just a sprite looked amazing that gave it a different shape or look, but in this case, and most Pokemon, Sword and Shield will take the cake. But here, its difference is too close for me. I look at it and I go, yeah, okay, look, I know it's a shiny, but if I was just in a rush, there's a good chance I wouldn't double think about it. The body parts that have the massive difference, except for maybe the neck, are quite, I don't know, they dissolve backwards almost. They don't seem to be prominent. And yeah, the green's just quite close. I know it's a slight difference, but it still seems very close. I don't know why the other ones, which seem to stand out more in other generations, but this one was just like, damn it. After that, we are looking at Ruby and Sapphire. So we're jumping back a couple gens. And really, I love the stance in this one. And it starts to get more obvious here, in my opinion. Like, if you have a look at it here, even though just like it's very... You can tell it's an older game. I just feel like that even though the colour isn't as dark a green as, let's say, Sword and Shield, the green we have here mixed with that pinky red almost really does say to me this is definitely different, and would make a lot of people who have seen Scyther a couple of times at least take a double take. After that, we're looking at Diamond and Pearl. Now, Diamond and Pearl's really interesting, but really it's the same. It's the same difference as before, but better position with its mouth open. I like the mouth open here. It still, you know, shows different things, but I don't know. I just felt the mouth open, even though the color in the mouth really either doesn't change or is so little it doesn't stand out. It's just the position to me makes this one better. From there, we're going up into our second best. We're looking at Heart Gold, Soul Silver. It's quite cool, to be honest. I really like this one. I love the positioning. I like the stance. It feels different to all the others, if that makes sense. Like, you get a sense of what a Scyther could and does do here. It shows off a lot of the body. But to me, as much as fun that is, the little things are just so little closely coloured compared to the next one that it's just not our best. And so moving on to our best, this is in my opinion, and these last few have been quite close, we are looking at Platinum. Now, really, it's got cool positions and strong difference. That's the biggest thing for me here. And if you have a look at it, even though its scythe is covering part of its body, they've still been able to show a lot of the pink off. And I don't know if it's the stance or if it's slightly, I think it's a slight bit darker than the Heart Gold Soul Silver, and that's what put it over, or it's just made to seem that way. Either way, this shiny does definitely stand out better than to me, and overall I think this is the best shiny Scyther we have. But if I'm honest, if I'm gonna get a shiny Scyther, I'd rather just evolve it and have a shiny Sizzle. You know, at least it's quite a large difference. Now, our next one I couldn't leave for too long to do because we did Plusle the other week, and these are almost hand in hand, so we've got to go with Minim. I really shouldn't say almost, it's a hand in hand thing. Now, as much as we did Plusle, if you missed it, do go check out the other ones. The playlist will be linked at the end. But Plusle is actually quite a close one, where Minim, you'll see, is definitely better of the two if you're going to shiny hunt. So let's just jump in and we'll have a look at it. So, starting with our worst one, we are looking at Ruby Sapphire, Fire Red, and Leaf Green. They all share the same one, and as you can see here, it's got this cute little chubby face look to it, but it's just so close, and like, it's just disappointing because I really do like the sprite itself as much as it's kind of there. It has this little cool look to him. He just lacks that diversity from one to the other. There is a difference though, and definitely already more than Plusle's, but it's quite close. I mean, but as well, we can see a difference in the body because the colours on his ears, cheeks, and that are big enough difference that the whole thing can be comparable. Let's go to the next one from there though, and we are looking at Emerald. Even cooler, even cuter, has that adorable smile, but that colour difference is still remaining. And that to me is a problem. That difference is still very close. Like, it's not hard to make a bit of a better difference, and we're gonna see that, but here it just falls flat because of that colour. Now, our next one we are looking at is XY Sun and Moon. And this is where we start seeing the improvements. Well, not this game exactly, but from here onwards. So as you can see here, we get this change of a colour, which takes it from this really dark, almost, it's so hard to say, like navy with a tinge of light green thrown in and mixed in or something like that, to this nice strong green. There is no way you can look at a shiny Minim if you know what a normal Minim looks like remotely and go, ooh, I don't know what this is. It's a shiny. And you know it, and that's it. The reason this game though falls here is he's so emotionless, so just like meh, and very just boring to look at. I feel like if he was in a newer game, he'd still look like that in a still image, but because he'd look a lot nicer, we get a feeling of this cute little bouncy electric mouse thing. But unfortunately here he just falls flat. From there we are stepping up into Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver, because they all share a sprite together. Now, the colour is still good, but it has this uneasy, cute pose. Like, it's cute. These are cute Pokemon, and that's what they're meant for. But it's, as you can see, it looks a little uneasy, but I still think this makes him a little bit better than XY Sun and Moon. I think he's adorable, and that's what we want to see, and we're still seeing this beautiful green colour compared to that that whatever we had earlier on. And finally, stepping into our best one, we are looking at black and white. Now, the reason I think this one is the best, it has the best color difference as well. To me, it has the best color difference out of the lot. The shading makes the ears and the green look different. Unlike the newer ones, we see these two different colors of greens from the shadows and the light, and we see that in the blue as well. Plus, it just looks happy and more fun than, like Emerald did. And that's what we want to see in Minim and Plusle and Pokemon along those lines. So I definitely found this guy the best out of Minim, and if we had to go Minim or Plusle, Minim wins shiny, hands down. Now, our next Pokemon has been requested is Rotom. Now, we are just looking at the normal Rotom, not any specific one, because Rotom has so many different forms. I'm not going to be looking at his forms altogether. I will actually look, or there, I should say. I will be looking at Rotom's forms individually on request or when I get up to them. I feel like a Pokemon like this that has such diversity, it is something that I can break up. Most Pokemon I won't when they have different forms, but when it comes to Rotom, this will be at least one that I will be breaking up. So it's honestly a really cool shiny, with the body and the electric both changing enough to make it really exciting. And we'll see that from the worst right through. So starting with the worst, we are looking at XY Sun and Moon. Now, it's still really nice, but this is kind of the worst of the best type of situation where it's got a really nice shiny, but when you're putting them all together, this one's the worst of the good ones. Now, it is pixelated and feels grainy, and you'll see what I mean when I get through it, but that's why this one falls into the worst place. But it wouldn't even matter what any generation you're in, shiny Rotom would be worth it. Our one just sneaking out of last place is actually Sword and Shield. Now again, this is a really good step up. It's got a great look, that light mapping and everything does well, but it's got this matte feel, when it matte compared to gloss type of look, and that's what I get from this, and that's what I kind of don't love about it. I still love it, but you'll see what I mean when I go back to the next two, and there's just this difference, and it's what to me makes a better one. Now if you disagree or have any other opinions, let me know below, but we're going to keep going through here on what I think. So our next one here is Diamond, Platinum, Pearl, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Wrong way around there. But either way, this is a nice good setup because even though it's got that great look, it has this glossy look as I was talking about. And even though it's older, this shiny look to it to me just makes him, I don't know, just feels more alive and I don't know, that's just how I see Rotom type of thing, like this electric and it's almost like this glossy plasma type of thing, and it really to me makes the shiny versus original really stand out, making it a better one. And as you'll see, stepping into our best, which is black and white, we can see it again. Now this is almost the same, but to me I just feel like it's just a little bit better, like remotely. Honestly, at some stage, it probably holds a very similar sprite to Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know what it is with this one. I just thought it was just that tiny, and when I say tiny, I mean tiny, a little bit better. So really, those could have nearly been grouped together, but I felt like Black and White was just that tiny step up, making him the best. And finally, to our last one, we are looking at, and it was requested, Charmander. So we're not looking at Charizard yet, but we're looking at Charmander. Now this is definitely a big fave of people, especially when you go to Charizard. But today we're looking at Charmander. Now, as much as he is a fave, it's just like, the baby is definitely a different shiny to Charizard. Some people do know this, some people don't, but let's dive in and you'll see. So starting with our worst, we are looking at XY Sun and Moon. Now, the reason this is really the worst is not just the pixelatedness it gets in this generation because it was animated the whole time, that other gens could have a really sharp still image, but it's this greenwashing color you can see here, and you can notice it really, especially if you compare him to other ones. But he has, I don't know what it is, it's this almost slight green hue put across him. It's like they've finished the shiny, like, you know what, chuck a little bit of green right across the whole thing, and that gives me, that's what I get out of this. And it just kind of a little bit like, oh, he doesn't look as cool. I don't want to see a wash of one colour mixing the whole thing together. Like, I have nothing against a green shiny. If Charmander went bright green with a yellow belly, yeah, sure, cool, I'd love him. But he's not. He's got this yellow belly, orange body, and then they've just mixed green into the same amount of green into both type of thing. Our next one, just scraping out of last place, is Sword and Shield. Now, the reason this one's here is, as much as he looks adorable, I feel like they've still got that green mix. A lot less green, but still a little bit. And that's just a bit, again, like, why? Like, you can... I don't know about you guys, but when I look at both the original and the shiny together, I feel this green mix in here, and it's a little bit disappointing to me. The next one up from there is Gold and Silver. Now, these guys only didn't finish last because of the green hue, but if you have a look here, going back to Gold and Silver, Charmander actually had a much more orange shiny, and his original, you know, was probably a little bit darker than what we see now in the orange, but because they were both quite orange, if you just showed me a shiny and I didn't see a sparkle back then, I probably could have been mistaken quite easily, not just because I was young, but even now, and if I'd been looking at one or playing through, I'd just look at him and go, that's a bright orange, is that right? And then I'd probably just, if I could catch him I would, but I'd probably just be like a little confused. It's not something that I'm looking at and going, definitely shiny. The only reason these guys didn't finish last is because they don't have a horrible, like, hue shift type of effect done. From there, our next one is Emerald. Now, you'll see why Emerald's next. Now, as much as it is getting much better, the shiny feels very washed compared to the original. And as you can see here, our original nice bright orange, then this standout belly, his cute blue eyes, and his tail. It's adorable little pose for Charmander. But then when you look at the shiny, his belly to body color almost feels mixed together again. The same thing kind of happened with that green hue shift, but this is different. It's whether they haven't changed the belly and the outside is so close to it, or that they changed both but made the belly closer to the outside. And with the pose not giving that distinct line around the outside, it kind of mushes these colors together, and it's a little disappointing. Like, I mean, a shiny's very rarely disappointing in general, but in terms of Charmander's shinies, this is still like a bit, that's a bit disappointing. Now we look at, Fire Red Leaf Green. Nearly stepped to the wrong one. Now it's starting to get cooler, but really it just doesn't stand out heaps, you know? And that's when I'm like, look, it's still cute, and this is where I can definitely start saying, okay, that's a shiny. You know, I'd see him and I'd be very surprised if I thought that wasn't a shiny. But it's still a little bit like, you know, that's kind of the reaction I get from it. Now, we are looking at Crystal following this, which I almost said before. And the reason I put this a little bit better, although it is Gen 2, if we are not looking at the rest of Gen 2 and just looking at Crystal itself, Charmander is much, much darker in his original, making him more of a red, which is what Charmander generally used to always be. But with the very bright orange shiny, we can see the difference. So if I had never played another game and only seen Charmander in Crystal and then encountered a shiny, I'd be like, ooh, shiny. Where with the gold and silver, I would have been like, is that type of thing? But this one's definitely a distinct difference between these two, and that's what puts him up here. From there, we move on to Ruby and Sapphire. Now, this is really cute. I love the tail, but the best way to describe why I put this one here compared to the next few is that, to me, it doesn't glow. And it's hard to say and what I mean by glow exactly, but to when I look at this one compared to the ones coming, its shiny doesn't just as a glow or seem fluorescent compared to the original as much as the next few. Now, this is still a really cool design. Love the pose, love the shiny, but it's not like, it's not in your face in the right way, but it's not in your face in the wrong way either. It's just not in your face. And sometimes that's a bad thing. From there, we are looking at Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Now this is where the glow starts to stand out. And as you can see here, if hopefully it makes sense to you guys, you can see the original and then you see the shiny. And that shiny is almost iridescent. It's, to me, where a shiny should be in terms of, especially a close coloured shiny, where it's really just with nothing or just the similar background behind it, it really stands out. There's the normal, cute, adorable little Charmander and standing out. I did find this one in this position because I found his face a little weird down near the mouth part, especially on the side where the eye you can't fully see. And that's what put him here compared to the next one, which is black and white. Now, it is still cute, still glowing, and looks like a pick-me-up pose, in my opinion. And I really do like this one. He does look like he's saying pick me up. He's glowing, and this is what just puts him a little bit above the next one. Is he does the last one is he doesn't have that as weird face. But to me, it's still, these are still really good on the end compared to the worst end. And from there, we are going to our best, which is Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Now, the reason these guys are in first is they really, to me, they're so close to the last few, but they are glowing. They are the cutest, in my opinion. They have this little fun, playful design, but to me, they almost look like they're doing this pirouette type of thing, like a pose pirouette, sorry, where they're about to start spinning on one foot and turning. And for those who don't know what a pose pirouette is, I apologize, but it's just cute and adorable, and that's just what put me over to the end. Now, it isn't glowing quite as much as the last two, I will state, but I thought this pose put it above with only a slightly glow, but the last three to me are really top tier compared to the rest. Anyway, guys, that is it for today's worst to best shinies. Now, I have really enjoyed bringing these to you guys, and they are getting a fair amount of attention, which is great. But as I said earlier, these are all from Cerebi, so if you need any shiny or any information, I suggest going there. They're quite good. But if there is anything you'd like to see, like there's a Pokemon you really like to see, or you really think I was stupid because this one I said was worse, in your opinion was the best, or just something along those lines, a conversation of an area or anything like that, the comment section is down below, and I love hearing from you guys in that section, as well as giving me a thumbs up for this video. If you did enjoy it and feel like it deserves it, then it definitely helps the video, my channel, and myself out. Also, guys, don't forget that if you want to keep up to date with these, I am going to keep doing more and more of these. Then you can definitely click the sub button, because I'm hoping to bring them to you a little faster if I can. I've already started working on the Pokemon for the next one, but we'll see how long that takes. Let's hope there's no sick relapse. But anyway, guys, until my next video, I'll see ya.